Welcome back to another episode of the My Latin Life podcast. Since 2014, My Latin Life has been your trusted guide to traveling and living in Latin America. Today, I'm joined by a special guest. His name is Justin Marc. Justin, what's good, man?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, sir. We've been in contact a little bit over the past couple of years, but this is actually our first time talking like face to face or live. So, happy to finally get a chance to collaborate with you, man.
Yeah, likewise, man. Thanks for bringing me on.
Yeah, and I know that you have spent a good amount of time in Latin America.
For
You're
sure.
also a very interesting entrepreneur. You're huge into self development, all things that we treasure
Definitely.
a lot. So I think in this episode, we're going to do our best to keep it somewhere between PG and PG 13,
Okay.
if
Totally
possible.
cool, man.
Even though part of the reason this is going to be a sick episode is because you have no filter. So stay tuned, guys. This is going to be a good one. But yeah, we're going to talk a bit about entrepreneurship, making location independent income, living in Latin America, all that type of stuff.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I've lived in Mexico City. I lived in a city in Mexico called Leon, Guanajuato. I was living there for a few months as well because I had a
Hmm.
girlfriend there, so I was living with her and her family. I also spent about a month in Uruguay in South America, in Montevideo, and then I had been to Peru, tried Peru for a couple of weeks. Where else? Been to Brazil. I spent like a month in Brazil. And yeah, man, I've been all over the place, bro. Like all over Latin America. I love it. It's good times. My Spanish is, sale vale. It's not too bad. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, no, Latin America is a great time.
And what's cool about the Spanish language skills is now you're based in Toronto. I think you're back in Toronto now. But
Yep, I
even
just
in
got
Toronto,
back
it
last
does
night.
it does come in handy. Like you'll hear Spanish on the
Here and
streets of
there, for
Toronto. I
sure.
think I've seen some YouTube videos where you used it in Toronto.
Possibly, probably, most likely. Yeah, like anytime, you know what? Toronto has so many people from Latin America here. And so when people are like, oh, I'm from Mexico, I'm like, whoa, I could talk to you in Spanish. And so the cool thing is, especially like, let's say I'm at a club or a bar or whatever, and I meet some girl and she's like speaking Spanish. Well, I can be like, ¿de dónde eres? Oh, qué bueno. Oh, wow. Mucho gusto. Right? I can like build that familiarity right with them right away. And it's an interesting thing for sure. Latin culture in general is fucking dope. And yeah, man, definitely Toronto is full of Latinas, people from Brazil, South America, Central America. Like you got people from all walks of life here, from all over, anywhere south of the U.S. You could find people here in Toronto.
Definitely. There's like a little Brazil. I always randomly would meet like au pairs in Toronto from like Mexico or
Super,
Peru and
super
stuff like
normal
that.
for sure. Yeah.
And it's cool. It builds a connection, even if you're not like perfect in Spanish, just to be able to do a little bit and like, oh, like I know. So just helping to inspire people out there that, these are skills that will stick with you for the rest of your life, even if you don't live like forever in Latin America, but you'll continue, like, it's just such a prominent language that you'll continue using
I
it.
love Spanish because it is, I believe, the second most spoken language that people learn. I think it's up there. It's like top five as well. Because
Hmm.
like, look, if you learn fucking like Mandarin or Cantonese or some shit, like how many people can you actually communicate with? If you learn English, you can talk to pretty much everyone in the world, right? So English is a great language to learn, right? If you don't
Hmm.
fluently speak English, go practice English, right? French, it's like, yeah, like if like I'm Canadian, it's like sure, but like how often do I hear people speaking French? Not that often, right? So learning Spanish was like to me a no brainer. I didn't even formally learn Spanish. I just had a Mexican girlfriend who spoke zero English when I was living in Mexico, and so I kind of just practiced with her, and she kind of just taught me Spanish, right? But yeah, like it's an interesting thing.
Hmm. So I wanted to take sort of like a step back next, and I don't know if I want to start with like how you got started in Latin America or how you started sort of becoming an entrepreneur and making online
Cool.
income. I feel like for most people, uh, well, it happens. For me, I had to make the income online, and then I said, okay, sick. Now I'm making money, location
Interesting.
independent. Now I can move to Latin
Cool.
America. Some
So
people
funny
do it in
enough, it
reverse.
actually, yeah, it happened the other way. So I run a business as a dating coach. So my job is to help guys get the date, land the girl, and maybe even get a girlfriend, build a relationship, whatever it is they want, right? With, their soul skills, their dating life, their relationships, and their lifestyle. So that's what I do. I've been coaching this stuff since 2014. By the time I was 22 years old, I was making like a 6-figure income off of this, traveling all around the world doing this stuff. Okay. And I was running programs in the States, in Australia, like all over the place, doing workshops everywhere, audience everywhere. And when I was 22, so I'm 26 now. When I was 22, I met a girl. I met her here in Toronto. Her name was Laura. She was beautiful. And I fell in love with her. She was so beautiful. I fell in love with her language, the culture, the vibe. She would invite me over to her place and, like cook me chilaquiles, which is like this beautiful, like delicious, like breakfast
yeah.
meal. It was so fucking tasty. And, within a few weeks, she was telling me, Justin, I have to go home. I have to go back to school. And my heart was breaking. And I was so upset. So I said, look, I don't want to end it with you. I love you. I want to be with you. We can make this work. Let's do a long distance relationship. And so I told her I would visit her in Mexico. And so 3 weeks after she left, I booked a flight to her city of Leon to go visit her. And I stayed with her and her family, her parents. It was crazy. We had a great time. We spent like 2 weeks together. And then 3 weeks later, she had a break from school and she came to visit me back in Toronto again. So, it was amazing. And then, I ended up finishing school. And I just dropped everything and I moved to Mexico, moved in with her parents. And funny enough, I restarted my business in her city. So I actually found clients to coach in her city. So I was making money. I was remotely working at the nightclubs in Toronto remotely, by doing like nightlife promo stuff, doing a little bit of online business stuff as well. And I was getting client sales from when I'm back in Toronto. So I was able to make money in Toronto while I was in Mexico. I was able to make money in Mexico while I was in Mexico. And it worked. So I learned a lot about just business and entrepreneurship and stuff like that. But I wasn't making a whole lot of money, a couple $1,000s here, a couple $1,000s there, enough to get by in Mexico. And funny enough, when I was actually stopping by Mexico in the first week of March of 2020, obviously we had this crazy whole pandemic thing, coronavirus, right? And so what happened was I was just like, well, shit. I'm not going to be able to go back to Toronto and coach my clients because, they're shutting things down. I'm just going to stay in Mexico because I had actually met another girl. She was really cute. And so I was like, you know what? I'm good on money. I don't really need money. I could, chill for a while. And so I was able to live in Mexico and just make money anyway through my coaching business, through finding online clients. And I was making a lot of money too, over 6 figures throughout COVID. It was great. But the thing is, one thing that really stood out to me was I saw an opportunity here to create a course about dating apps, social media, and Tinder, because obviously I'm a dating coach. I have a huge audience of almost 100,000 people on YouTube, and they all watch my videos about dating. And I was thinking, hey, well, this is a great opportunity for me to release a course about Tinder and dating apps. So me and my buddy, Brad, released a course called Online Seduction, which is a full-length course on how to pick girls, how to get laid from dating apps, how to meet girls, get dates, etc. And so we created this course. By the way, I'm massively filtering myself right now just because you said keep it PG-13. So
yeah, you're doing a good job.
The actual backstory is like, fuck, it's crazy. It's crazy. We released this course and I think we ended up making around $100,000 from the course, right? So it's COVID, lockdown, stay-at-home orders, everyone's broke. We had $100,000 from the course, making like 5-10K a month from my coaching business, still getting like all this like COVID business grants and all this bullshit. So I was balling, man. During COVID, I made more money than ever. And I wasn't even fucking home. I wasn't even in my home city, Toronto. I was traveling the world. I was all over the place. And I actually spent about 8 months living in Mexico City, in La Condesa, Centro, and all different parts of Mexico City, just having fun, meeting girls. Had a girlfriend, broke up with her, another girlfriend, broke up with her. In between, had a bunch of short-term girls I was seeing. So I was having fun, living in the penthouse in Mexico, moved back to Toronto, got a penthouse here. All the money I made, I invested it. So like I'm pretty much like in a really good financial position. So yeah, man, like making money online, working remotely, definitely something I highly recommend to everyone. Living in Latin America is one hell of an experience as well. Definitely something I recommend to everyone. Doing it together at the same time, amazing, because the cost of living there is so cheap. And then the other thing is you can make a US income or like a 6-figure income online relatively easier than most people would think while living in these cheaper countries. So you not only that, you can live like a god. You can live like a king. You can save a ton of money and live very, very well.
Well said, man. That's literally the game plan is make money in Canadian or US dollars and spend in pesos.
Well, yeah, think about this, man. If you're from London, if you're from Sydney, or if you're from New York, LA, Toronto, these are expensive, expensive cities. So you got to think about it. If you were to land an average job in one of these cities, let's say you're making like 60, 70, 80K a year, those are like pretty much average incomes for you to just barely get by and pay your bills in these cities. Well, what if you could have a remote income? What if your job can be on Zoom? What if your work could be online? What if you can ask your company you work for to allow you to work remotely? What if you could, instead of working for a company, build a similar income via business venture, maybe investing, maybe cryptocurrency trading, maybe drop shipping, no inventory drop shipping. Maybe you have some sort of consulting business. Maybe you
Hmm.
have some sort of coaching company, right? And so you do that, all of a sudden you have an insane amount of freedom. You just built yourself the opportunity to have an insane amount of freedom. And if you could even make 50K a year, well, you could still live even better than you were back home with less money in these
Agreed.
new countries.
Agreed. I often tell people like ask for a 10K salary cut to work 100% remote. You'll save, you'll
It's
make more
actually
money.
worth it. I genuinely believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
How
you'll
did
save more
you
money.
So you obviously understand the formula of working online, building a business, internet marketing, everything that comes along with it. How did
Sure.
you really get into that?
Dude, I kind of just did it. I didn't
what was
learn.
your
I didn't
big
study
inspirations
anything.
or
There was no inspiration. I just did it. I just did what I was passionate about and followed my dreams. The cheesy, thing is like, go follow your dreams, do what makes you happy. Well, I did that. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to just travel with the money saved up from club promoting and from working with clients in cash. And I'd saved up like 20K over the course of years. I use that to start
Mhm.
traveling. I use that to, travel to Australia. I use that to travel back to Toronto. And then when I noticed that my money was dipping, I was like, oh, well, now I should try to like sell more clients so I can make more money and get my money back up where it was. Cause in my head,
Mhm.
my baseline was like, let's say like 20K is what I had saved up, right? Like back then, like even 20K might sound like a lot of money to have saved up, but that was when I was like 20 years old. And I thought that was like not a lot of money. So I was like, in my head, I was still broke. I was living frugally. And, if I had 20K saved up, it's like if it dipped under 20K, I would try to find clients to get that back up. And so that was kind of my mindset, just like break even and make sure my bank stays about 20K. And then, eventually became stay above 30K, then stay above 40K, then stay above 100K, etc. So, I was always trying to focus on just like saving more money, stacking cash, but I wasn't really thinking of like, I never really learned. It's not like I was out there reading all the business books and stuff. I kind of just did it, right? A lot of people want to know, how do you learn business? How do you do that? You just do it, right? Like if you want to really learn business, you just do it. So I kind of just did it and I did what I was passionate about. The thing I was coaching was what I was passionate about, which was dating, meeting girls, having fun, having these crazy, crazy party experiences with fun, crazy stuff going on, girls, and again, watering down the content, right? But I found I had a lot of guys who were like, hey man, can you teach me how to do that stuff? I'm like, totally. And I did. I taught people for free for a year until I realized I could charge money for this. And I started charging clients $40. One of my last clients paid me $40,000. I had a client work with me for 2 weeks, paid me $40,000, right? So I've literally 1,000 times what I charge clients now, right? And so, 4 years ago, I was virtually broke. I had even had to move back into my parents, right? Now I'm in a position where I'm making like a 7-figure remote income, traveling around the world, making bank, having fun, doing whatever I want, having so much free time to just live the life I want. So it's amazing. There's really no excuses to not do this. Just do it. But you gotta stop playing it safe. That's one thing. I never really played safe. I was always a bit of a risk taker. Like I've just been a big risk taker in my life. And so that's kind of what got me where I'm at. It's like my mom was telling me, go get a job, go do this and that. I remember I had a government job, I had a really like prestigious job with the government, the Ministry of Transportation, with a nice title and stuff. I quit after 2 weeks to go make YouTube videos because to me, it wasn't really about the money. It was about what I was passionate about and
Mhm.
what would give me the most freedom. And, sometimes people don't realize like money can actually hinder you and it doesn't allow you to have freedom if you're doing it for the wrong reason. So if you're working in a job that you hate for a company you hate and it ties you down and you essentially become a slave, they're buying your time and now you're stuck there. Well, you have become a slave. So you don't have the freedom. So to me, freedom over everything, the freedom is more important than the money, right? Doing what I was passionate about was more important. and then charging a premium for what I do, for what I'm passionate about, that is, what started to pay the bills. And now I can live very well. And it got to the point where, I even fly girls around with me. If I have a girlfriend or I meet a girl that I like, I can fly her around with me. Right. I met a beautiful girl like a month ago and I asked her to come to Egypt with me. She unfortunately said she couldn't, but I was going to pay for everything to take care of it because I can afford to. Right.
Yeah, I think of it as golden handcuffs. And it's something we see a lot in Toronto and other big cities where we have it so good. The investment banking jobs are easy to come by. Real
For
estate's
sure.
going up 10,
For sure.
15% a year. You can make $40 an hour in construction, just like digging a hole in Toronto. Probably like $60 an hour. And so it can be hard to, all your friends are there. You feel like it's the center of the world. Um, and so it can be hard to make that shift. But I think that's what My Latin Life is kind of going for, is we're trying to show people that, there might be a better life and a better option out there.
Well, yeah, you took the words out of my mouth, man. Like, it's golden handcuffs. A lot of people don't realize what is out there. A lot of people don't realize the potential. And a lot of people don't realize you can live a better life elsewhere. And there's this saying, go where you're treated best. Okay.
Hmm.
In a lot of these cities, man, you're not going to be having the free time. You're not going to be having the dating life you want to have. You're not going to be having the somebody in the friend groups you want to have because it's just not part of the culture, man. Like a city like Toronto, New York, Sydney, there's these like commerce cities, business hustle and bustle cities, where it's just like your work is your life, right? You go to you said you're in Sayulita, Mexico right now.
Yeah.
We have a mutual friend, Chris, living in Playa del Carmen. I was living with him and my ex-girlfriend in Playa del Carmen with his girlfriend. And, you see the life there. People work to live. They don't live to work, right? In Toronto, people live to work, right? They live to work. In Playa del Carmen, people work to live. And it's so much happier. You got the freedom. You have the good weather. You have whatever you want, really. And so it is a beautiful time. Now, me personally, I've already done so much travel that I'm just like happiest now in Toronto, I find, because my life here is, I built my lifestyle the same way I built my income and everything. I built my lifestyle here to be so dope, so much fun. So
Hmm.
it's like when I'm here, it's like I'm on vacation. It's better than these countries. But that I feel like that's like a next paradigm. That's like next level,
Yeah, you
And
have a good
it's kind of
setup.
hard for people. It's very hard for people to be able to do that unless you do make a lot of money and unless you have a lot of like friend connections, the right network. And so if you don't, hey man, what's stopping you from moving to freaking Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, or Mexico City, or Medellin, Colombia, and just living a life there and having fun and going on Tinder, meeting girls there, and having a cool life there, and just doing whatever the hell you want to do, whatever it is you want to do, whatever life you want to live, just go do it there, right?
Hmm.
And it's gonna be
And I
cheaper,
think
food's
even,
better.
yeah, yeah, food, weather, climate, everything. Um, and I was going to say, kind of just echoing your point, I think even if ultimately you do want to go back to, say, your hometown where your parents are, that's obviously like totally commendable to, be close to your parents as they get older. But I think every man and every person does need to spend a little bit of time outside the bubble to sort of gain perspective,
For
gain
sure.
new skills, and ultimately kind of become a more interesting person.
For sure. Well, look, when you go travel, you're going to meet so many people, experience so many things, change your paradigms, shift in perspectives, and then you take that home with you. And the other thing is like, go live your life, man. Go live the life you want to live. Go live the life of your dreams. And the other thing is when you're young, you should travel because maybe when you're older, maybe you meet a beautiful lady and she becomes your girlfriend or something. And maybe you get married and have kids and settle down and then you have more time to focus on work and whatnot. Well, go travel while you're young. Now, the other thing is you can always move home. You always can move home, right? Will
Mm.
you have the freedom, the health, the means to go do these things now? Will you have the opportunity to go travel and do these things, right? I just came back from a 2-week trip to Egypt. I didn't want to go. I didn't even want to go to Egypt. Why would I want to go to some, third world country where they don't speak English and it's like super conservative? There's no pretty girls there. The prettiest girls are married off by the time they're like 20 years old or whatever. And so it's like, why do I want to go there? Well, in my head, I was like, well, if I don't, I'm going to have the opportunity to go in the future and I might regret that. So I went there, didn't really like it that much. That's fine. Experienced a lot. It was still epiphany inducing, eye opening. and I've taken home new knowledge and experience, right? And so, yeah, you can always move home if you want to, right? But you'll never have the opportunity if you don't leave your home. Go leave, get out of the house, go do things, right? And the world will open up for you.
100%. And you just got back yesterday, right?
Yeah, I got back last night.
Are you jet lagged?
I fell asleep at like 10 p.m. So, and then I woke up so I slept for like 10 hours. Right? I feel pretty good so far.
Man, how did you like it? How'd you like Egypt? You went to the pyramids?
Yeah, 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 it was all right. Yeah, it's okay.
I just think it's funny that, every kid they're going to learn about the pyramids in
Mm-hmm.
geography class by age
Yeah,
8 for sure. And if you just took a survey of pretty much every adult by age like 50, they've just still never gone to the pyramids. And
true.
that little kid is just looking at the parents and just being like, wait, so you could go round trip for like 400 or 500 bucks.
Yeah,
It's
like
not that hard.
it's probably like
And it's like,
700
how.
US for my flight round trip, and I did a
Yeah, I mean,
tour,
Canada's
which
expensive to fly from right now, but still, but like what I'm saying is like whatever. It's like a pretty small sum
Mhm,
relative
for
to
sure.
doing like such a bucket list thing. I'm always
Yeah.
like, how come my parents have never been to like Japan or something? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's good.
Like,
It blows your mind, right? Like how much is out there. And I've seen, dude, I'm 26. I'm still young as hell. I've seen so much. Been to 50 countries. I've been to Machu Picchu. Been to Chichen Itza. Obviously Niagara Falls because down the street from me, pretty much. But like I've seen all the wonders of the world, the pyramids. Like done all this crazy stuff. I've been to like Angkor Wat in Cambodia.
yeah,
Drove motorcycles across Laos. Right? I've like those crazy things because it's like you're gonna fucking die. Like most people don't realize you're going to die. One day
yeah,
you're gonna die. I've had so many near death experiences, dude. Have had like some dude who's tried to beat the shit out of me because I banged his girlfriend, and like he was literally trying to kill me. He went to jail. I was in a wheelchair, right? Or I almost drowned in the ocean in Australia. Or like I've had dude, in freaking where the hell were we? I think we were in Aswan, Egypt, in the south of Egypt the other day, and I almost got hit by a car. My tour guide pulled me off the street right before a car hit me. And so like, I literally almost died there. It's like, you're going to die. Go see the world. Go live your life. Go do things. Stop playing video games. Stop touching yourself at nighttime and go like stack cash, build a business and go travel and work remotely and go live your life, man. There's so much to do. A lot of people like, look, if you had a gun to your head right now, if you had a freaking gun to your head and they said, you have 24 hours to get $2,000 together. Could you do it? Most people in Western society for sure could do it. Whether you have to borrow money from friends or family, or freaking sell your kidney, or sell your dog, or perform sexual favors to do it, you probably could figure it out, right? But most people wouldn't even have to go that extreme. You'd probably be like, oh yeah, well, cool. I can sell my bike. I could, sell this stock. I could close one client. I could do this or that, and like all of a sudden you'd have the money like that, right? And a lot of people don't realize that you can just do tweak your life here or there, a little small thing, and all of a sudden you have more money. And then now you have that money and you can go travel. Well, imagine you can do that once a month. So when I'm traveling in these countries to make a couple $1,000 to just break even on my expenses, it's nothing. It really is nothing. So if you
hmm
can save up 10 to 20 grand, book a one-way trip to one of these places, figure out how to make money while you're there and break even on your trip, you could probably figure that out. Next thing you know, you just built a remote income, slowly scaled that over the course of a few months, and you are making bank. One of my buddies, his name's Bradicus. He was a dating coach. He was a famous pickup artist and really, really character of a human being. He was broke. He didn't have a lot of money. He booked a one-way flight to Thailand, and he thought he was going to fly home after 30 days. But he just started getting clients left and right, because he started making YouTube videos of him picking up girls. So he started having guys be like, hey, can you teach me how to pick up girls? And next thing you know, all these guys were like flying in to work with him in Bangkok, and they're paying him tons of money. So he just had more money to travel. So he kept traveling. Then he went to the States and he got clients there. Then he went to Canada, got clients there. Then he went to South America, got clients there. He's been traveling now for the last 5 years or so, and he hasn't been home in 5 years. And he is a multi-millionaire. And he built all of this remotely while traveling, off his phone, off his laptop, and through cryptocurrency investing, the money he made. So he made a bunch of cash, invested in crypto, made millions, and now he's pretty much set for life. And pretty much never has to go home unless he needs to get his passport renewed or something at some point. Pretty amazing
Let's
what's
actually
possible.
talk for a second about Bradicus because I'm sure some people will find this through like YouTube search and Some of the old school fans will be curious, but we'll do it in a PG way.
He's
But
banned
so
from
did
social media. So if you even search up Bradicus, I don't know if you'll even find him, except you might
exactly.
find the
So
Mexico EA scandal we
this
had.
video will rank. This video will rank if when I put the timestamp in. And so okay, a little Bradicus history. So is Thailand actually where he got his start?
I mean, Australia is. We're working for the same dating coach company together at a point. So yeah, Australia is where he first
He
started, but then
started at home in
that was his
Australia.
first. Yeah, that was his
Yeah,
first jump to travel.
yeah. And then he went basically Thailand and kind of, Southeast Asia, which is close for him. And so he really started in Asia because I've met up with him in Sao Paulo, and I want to think if anywhere else. But yeah, I met up with him in Brazil, and he's definitely a big Latin America guy now. But he really got to start in Asia,
Yeah, well, think about this. Latin America is like the Asia of North America, right? Australia, you got Asia right over there, right? So it's I find when you go to Asia, you meet a lot of like Brits and Aussies, right?
yeah,
Versus you go to Latin America and you'll see like more like North American tourists there.
for sure. Okay, so he got started there. I didn't know he was doing that well. Like yeah, what you're saying is like he really has it down because we're talking about a guy just to like help people picture who is just like successful in spite of himself almost. And it almost just speaks to like how powerful the what's the word geo arbitrage is because this is a guy that's wearing like two different socks. One of the socks is like
Yep.
Elmo. Um, his shoes are like super tattered. He'll have like a mustard stain on his shirt, like
There you
and
go.
like
That's
some
Brad.
short, like just like completely mismatched, like looking like the biggest goon, basically. And I told him this when I saw him. I was like, "What are you doing, man?" Um, but this is a guy, yeah. But at the same time, he's successful in his social life and in
His
online
dating
business as
life, his
well.
relationships,
Hmm.
pulling mad cuties, and making insane amounts of money. He's in Peru right now. He's in Lima, Peru. I was actually living with him in Mexico City and Brazil. He's been hopping around Colombia, Brazil for the last year and a half. Costa Rica, and I was in Peru.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think what else to say to sort of like buckle the buckle on Bradicus because it's just hilarious. It's just do you think he'll ever be able to sort of like make a comeback, or do you think he'll just kind
With
of
his
live a
social
quiet
media
life?
career, with his current reputation, probably not. But he doesn't need to because he's making way more money. He's making like $500 a day US from crypto staking and stuff like that. And like the crypto market goes up. He's set for life, man. He doesn't need to. He's good with money. He's happy. He's traveling, hooking up with
Yeah,
cute
he's just
girls.
gonna chill.
He's got freedom. He's got freedom
Is
to
he
do whatever
even
he
is he
wants.
even like taking on clients?
Nope. He doesn't need to.
Yeah,
He
because
doesn't.
it's like,
I don't
how do
think he
you
even
get
wants
them?
to either.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, he doesn't have an audience to reach out to them, but he also doesn't need to.
Hmm.
You know, like it's not going to do anything for him. So his goal was never really money. His goal was freedom and having the freedom to do whatever he wants, right? And now he's got money, so now he's got that freedom.
And in your conversations with him, I mean, this dude loves Latin America. Spent a lot of time in Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, Peru, and we're talking like at least 3+ months in each of those places, if not significantly more like a year in each place. Um, do you think he'll ever go back to Asia, or is he like a committed Latin America guy now?
Yeah, like he actually even bounced off to Europe for a bit, and he's like, "No, f this. I'm going back to
Yeah, because
Latin America."
that's true. Because, and I think you could speak to this too a little bit in this conversation. I always find sort of the comparisons fun, and I thought what was cool about Bradicus is he was one of the few guys that had been to Latin America, been to Eastern Europe, been to Southeast Asia, like in a significant way, and was able to sort of like compare and contrast them, and sort of just be like, how are Colombians different than Belarusians and stuff like that. And
Yep.
it's very uh, unique to sort of like get those perspectives from people. And he was one of the people that sort of was just on the ground doing it, and that's why I found his stuff so interesting. Um,
It's a good testament to Latin America culture, dating in Latin America, the quality, the quantity of experience you could have, the abundance of relationships you could have, and the fun you could have, as well as the quality of life, food, culture, social life, nightclubs, stuff like that. Like Latin America's got a really good balance of everything. You know what I mean?
Hmm. And was Leon your first time basically in Latin America?
No, I had been to Cancun before, but I hated Cancun. I just did not like Cancun because I just felt like it was an American tourist trap. But then shortly after, yeah, Leon. Well, actually, I'd also been to Cozumel before that, which was only like for a day on a cruise ship, so it doesn't really count. But yeah, Leon, Guanajuato, Mexico. Yeah, that was
Which is
probably
a
my first
pretty
time
pretty
living in
authentic
Mexico.
city. So Leon,
Super
for people
authentic,
that don't know, is like a sort of like a university town where lots of Mexican
pretty much.
students come to go to university. So
Population like 1.3
it
million
does have a little
people.
bit of energy. It's a big city, yeah, over 1 million people. But it's not going to be the most English speaking place. So
No,
you
no, no
must
one
have
spoke English.
definitely that was like
I stood out,
pretty
man.
deep end. You were going
Yeah.
off the deep
Well, I
end.
fell in love, and I followed my heart, took me to Mexico, and I was there, and I had a life there. I had friends there. I had income there. I had girlfriends, guy friends, girlfriend, like a monogamous girlfriend, and female friends, and guy friends, and all kinds of stuff going. And it was great. It was a pretty happy time, and the food was good, and everything was great.
And after that, you spent a bunch of time in Mexico City later on. Did you continue going back to Leon a little bit, or
Yeah,
did you
I've been
kind
to
of?
Leon twice, three times. I'm not sure. No, I didn't. After that, I didn't go back. But I did travel like all around Mexico. Mexico City, definitely one of the better places, more infrastructure, better built. But yeah, and in the beach towns, like you're in Sayulita. I went to Puerto Vallarta for a bit. It was pretty interesting, cool. The beaches are always great. It's always a good time.
Mhm. And I wanted to sort of go back to what you were saying about how when you were 22, you had to move back with your parents.
Yeah,
Financially, you were, not in a good spot. And it's an interesting time in life that I think a lot of people can relate to, where that's also the time a lot of your friends are probably graduating from university. They're maybe getting prestigious job offers at accounting firms and stuff like that.
for sure.
You have Indian parents being like, get a job, blah blah blah,
Hmm.
kind of like the immigrant guilt type stuff. I
Yep.
mean, how did you? And so that was like a big sort of defining moment when you said, you know what, I'm going to go all in on entrepreneurship.
So here's the crazy thing, right? I had just traveled to Europe with my ex-girlfriend Laura, and I spent a whole lot of money. Maybe I had like 40K saved before that. I lost like 12 grand in crypto, just gone. Like I was using a platform that just stole my money, and then so I lost money there, and then I spent like 12 grand traveling, and the money here, money there, and I was like almost out of cash. I think I had like 10 to 12 grand saved left. And in my head, like with the money I was spending, I was like, okay, this is gonna be gone in the like next month or two. So that wasn't even the reason I didn't move back with my parents. I was renting my place out to like this like stripper dude, and he freaking had my room, and I didn't have a place to stay. Like there's no room in the condo that I was living in because I subleased it. So I didn't have a place to stay. So I had to move back with my parents for 3 weeks. And the first day I got back, I sold a client. The second day I got back, I sold three clients. Within 3 weeks, I made like another 30 G's. I'm like, oh, great. I can move back out. I can ball out and go travel again. Right. And so, life was good like that. That's how my life usually is like, I'm broke, I'm rich. I'm broke, I'm rich. Oh shit, I made like $1 million this year. Oh shit, I lost like 700K in crypto. What I mean? It's like kind of like where I'm at. And so it's always just really, really trippy. And so, yeah, man, like life it was just very intense. And so, yeah, sure, I had to move back with my parents. And yeah, when I started this entrepreneurial journey, man, it was always like my mom saying, this can't last forever, right? Or, one day you're gonna have to get a real job. Even as I'm saying, I get fucking pissed off. Sorry for pardon my French, but I'm getting like so like frustrated thinking like how my mother used to be like, this isn't gonna last forever. One day you're gonna have to get a real job. And then like by the time I'm 22 years old, I was making way more money than my parents. And like I remember like coming out of like my room, my parents' old condo, and like I'm like, yeah, just closed like $5,000 in sales in like 3 hours. My mom's like, well, this won't last forever. And I'm like, I remember just like telling my mom like, F off, because I'm like, Mom, I just made $20,000 in the past 3 weeks. And I'm like, it blows my mind because like I literally have months now where I'll make like my mom's annual salary in like 2 or 3 days of doing like work. And so like she can't say anything. And so at some point they had to give up, their dream of what they wanted for me. And my mom just tells me, Justin, I just want you to be happy. Go do whatever you gotta do to go be happy. Right? That's great. It's great. I now have an effective, healthy, mature adult relationship with my parents where they can't tell me anything, don't have control over me. And because I don't live with them, They can't be like, oh, well, you live in my house, that, or this or that. You have to do this and that. Because I can just be like, F off. I make bank. I make more money than you. I can do whatever the hell I want. Right. So yeah, in that aspect, money definitely is freedom. When you're working for like the law firm or whatever the hell, and you're stuck in the golden handcuffs and you can't get out of there, then yeah, that's not freedom. But when you have that remote income where, you're making all that money and whatnot, yeah, you do have real freedom.
Definitely, man. And as much as you say that, like you learn by doing, I know that you've also said that you've like invested like tens of thousands of dollars in mentorship over the years. Like
For sure.
how influential has mentorship been for you?
I think more so than that, reading good books, just reading really effective business books. Here's a great example. Pitch Anything by Owen, great business book. Really good book that'll teach you sales, frame control, mastering,
Hmm.
your ability to communicate with people and do sales. Another great book, Thinking Rich, because it'll change your mindsets and the fundamental
Yeah,
mindsets that run you.
yeah,
Thinking Rich by Napoleon Hill, really, really good business book. How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's a really good book teaching how to be social in a business setting and how to, effectively develop yourself as a human being. There's tons of, so I've read probably like hundreds of books like this, right? But I wasn't just reading them because I want to make more money. I was reading them because I want to develop myself as a human being. But then sure, yeah, they'll give you the right mindsets and behaviors and perspectives on how to make more money. So yeah, definitely. Those are even more important than mentorship. One other thing I did was just, instead of like just formally paying for mentorship, I would just like find guys who are good mentors and are really, really, really successful, because your network becomes your net worth and you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So all my friends are
yeah.
millionaires, influencers, YouTubers, just really successful in anything I'd want to be successful in. And I would just like become best friends with them. One thing I've always been really good at is being a really good friend. So I would just be a really, really good friend to people who needed it, who were successful in what I wanted to learn. And then indirectly, they mentor me with what I wanted to learn. And so I learned
Hmm.
about crypto investing. I learned about social media. I learned about YouTube and how to get viral there. I learned how to, make money doing this and that and that. And so, yeah, like when I say I just learned from doing it, yeah, like I did learn from doing it. I didn't learn from like, studying things and writing it down and then trying it when I'm ready. I just learned from like doing things, tweaking things, finding people who are successful, being around them, seeing what they do, having them give me advice, and then applying it to what I do and making more money. Right?
Definitely makes sense. Um, and I also noticed you have a lot of like a lot of the same energy as, or in like same characteristics as RSD Tyler, Owen Cook. I feel like you
Mm-hmm.
spent like a lot of time sort of learning from his like style,
I
because
definitely used to watch a lot
I've
of his
seen him
videos back in
I've
the
seen him in
day.
person, and he actually
Yeah.
is a very powerful speaker.
No, I'm friends with him. We're actually pretty good friends. I've hung out with him a few times. We talk on the phone like once a month. He's a really good dude. He definitely was really influential when I was younger. I used to watch a lot of his content way back in the day. So yeah, no,
Hmm.
really good dude. And nothing bad to say about the guy. Like he's brilliant. He's such a good dude. But yeah, like for sure. So like, yeah, just watching a lot of like self-development, self-help content. He was definitely someone I used to watch back in the day when I wanted to just learn like soul skills and self-help. Really good guy.
Hmm. And how do you like think about like developing your social skills? Like now you're at like an extremely high level. What do you tell your clients who are more beginner stage, and then for yourself, like where do you feel like you want to keep improving?
Well, from where I learn now, who I learn now from, it's like, would I ever take anyone's advice unless I would trade places with them? No, I wouldn't, right? So people I kind of like take advice from are like celebrities or like influencer type people I know. So I only take advice from people who are like a multi millionaires or like rich as shit or like really successful in whatever they do. Versus like what I teach my clients is like just a very basic foundational. It depends. That's a very loaded question. I run a full-time business as a dating coach, lifestyle coach. And so it's like, there's so many different things I teach, but the fundamentals of what I teach, very similar to what I'm talking about here, is just go do things, go try things. With them being social, it's the same thing. Just go out and then try things and test things and tweak things and learn from experience.
100%. And okay, I have another interesting question for you. So it's about the Looksmax movement.
Sure.
Is Looksmaxxing something that you helped like invent? Because it definitely got big, and like, or like where did it originally come from?
So, from my understanding, I actually don't know. I have a buddy named Nick. Nick is a male stripper, really good dude, and he was super into like what we call the black pill community. Now, it's a very toxic community because a lot of the guys who kind of support that movement are like very negative. And in their head, it's like, you can't meet a girl, you can't get a girlfriend, girls don't like you unless you look like a male model, right? But no, man, I always had the idea of like, well, I have this image of what I want to look like. I always wanted to kind of almost look like a skater dude, have long hair, have piercings, skinny jeans, and wear like Vans. And then as I got older, that idea of who I wanted to be shifted, right? But the concept of Looksmaxxing is very logical, right? It's like a lot of guys complain they're ugly. Well, go make yourself not ugly. Even got to the point where I got cosmetic surgery when I was in Mexico City. I paid like $1,000 for a fucking rhinoplasty. Got a nose job. So yeah, I got a nose job, and now I look like a freaking male model, right? Long hair, piercings, tattoo. I just got a freaking tattoo when I was in Egypt. Badass.
Oh, sick.
Right? And so,
shit, what is that?
Yeah, man. It's a mandala and a little flower. I'll like zoom in there. Look,
All right,
kind of hard to see because I can't like twist my whole arm around. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool stuff. And so, yeah, like just maxing your aesthetic, maxing your looks, maxing your. I mean, look, there's two versions of you that both are like charismatic as fuck, cool game, cool guy. Girls already like you, but one of you has cool chains, nice watch, tattoos, piercings. Guess what? You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And so, of course, you're going to meet beautiful, beautiful women because you have made yourself a beautiful human being. It's that simple.
And so what are some of the like quick hacks that people could implement to like up their look?
Wear clothes that fit, tight fitted. You don't need to spend a whole lot of money. Go to H&M and Zara and just wear things that fit. Dress size down so it fits on you. Unless it's too small. If it's too tight on you, then don't wear that, obviously. But yeah, you should wear really tight fit clothes. Wear Chelsea boots. Make sure you wear versatile outfits. Black, gray, dress high fashion. Piercings and tattoos allow you to break your stereotypes. So if you're an ethnic minority, it allows you to stand out from the crowd. So nose piercings, ear piercings, cartilage piercings, cool tattoos, even things like neck tattoos and hand tattoos. It might be a bit extreme, but it makes you look badass and it makes girls want the D. Yeah, just wear like cool fashion. Just dress better. Get a nice haircut. Groom yourself. Trim your beard. Hire a stylist if you need to. Get the fuckboy haircut, right? If you're a guy and you want to get it, get a grooming and aesthetic. Yeah, man, just dress different, look different, feel different. Does a lot for your self-esteem as well, which is crazy. But yeah, it does a lot for your self-esteem. So the more you look better, the better you're going to feel. Therefore, you're going to be more attractive as a person in general, but not just because you look better, because your personality and your charisma, because now you're more confident who you are.
Have you ever had a boot camp where like all the clients go get tattoos?
I've had one of my last programs, dude got pierced. I definitely recommend clients get tattoos. Usually they're pussies, so they don't do that. But in every program we do, we completely do a fashion makeover, and it makes them look incredible. Traditional dating advice is, embrace who you are. Yeah, sure, embrace who you are, but it doesn't mean you can't be a better version of yourself, right? And like, it's changing your outfit, changing your fashion. It's like, you're not changing yourself. You're just making yourself a heightened version of yourself. It's delusional to think otherwise, that, you shouldn't, like, it's just insane to me that there's people out there who give the advice of don't dress better, don't make yourself look better. If you can do these things that make you more attractive, go fucking do it. Seriously. It's like, don't make more money. It's like, what? Right?
This is a weird thing to admit, but when I saw you did the nose job, because I have a big ass nose, I have a big Italian nose, and I was like, I'm, Justin's making this a little more relatable, like thinking about it.
Like, here's the thing, man. I didn't even care about the nose job. I kind of just did it. It's not like I was even insecure about my nose. I literally just did it because I was bored. Because my ex-girlfriend, Valentina, she was a famous actress on a show called La Rosa de Guadalupe. It's a very popular Mexican TV show. And she had a nose job. And then like one of my buddy Nick had a nose job, and he just kept like pressuring me into it. I'm like, dude, I don't want a nose. Like, I don't have any desire in any way, shape, or form to get a nose job. But then I was in Mexico, and I'm like, it's cheap as hell. And the way I saw it is almost like I'm in a video game. It's like I can upgrade my character. I'm a character, and I can upgrade myself. Tattoos, upgrade my nose job. I'm like thinking logically. I'm like, look, I've already lived an amazing life. I'm dating a famous actress, make good money. I've banged a lot of girls. I have a great life. I'm like, what's the next level? I guess getting a nose job and becoming like a fucking A-list celebrity. I'm like, all right, fuck it. So I just hit up a surgeon on Instagram, and yeah, she's like, sure, come tomorrow. It was like $1,000. I'm like, here, let's do it. Why not? I knew nothing about it. I went into it doing zero research. I'm like, why not? Let's get a nose job. And now I have a gorgeous freaking nose. And now everywhere I go, girls are like, wow, you have an amazing nose. And I'm like, well, thanks, baby. All natural.
Damn, $1,000? I was thinking it'd be way more.
Yeah, Mexico City. Dr. Julieta.
Another good reason to come to Latin America is medical tourism.
Hmm.
Not only what's the word?
Like dentists, cosmetic
Yeah, dentist.
surgery,
I mean anything.
really
X-rays are
everything's
mad
cheap.
cheap.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
everything. Well, we have free healthcare in Canada, right? So I don't really have to worry about that. But then, like living in Mexico, it's like, well, if I want to go get like, you know, dentistry done, any cosmetic surgery, anything that would cost me a lot of money, I could just go do it in third world country. That's one
right.
fifth to one tenth the price.
Yeah, and I think that's healthcare is actually one of the big obstacles for a lot of people that want to make the move because now with online income and crypto and everything, if you are willing to give up Canadian residency, you could potentially get to a place where you're paying 0% tax if you set up
It's
your stuff
true,
right in a different country. And
definitely.
one of the big drawbacks is that you'll lose access to Canadian healthcare. But what we're
Yeah, but one
talking
of the
about now is
incentives
that
is you can get
actually
travel insurance.
you can get travel insurance, and even if you pay cash out of pocket for the dentist or for most things, it's really like quite reasonable and mathematically like totally makes sense.
So the travel insurance, like for example, you can get World Nomads. Or my favorite, Safetywing, is probably the most
Yeah,
flexible, easy to
yeah,
use travel insurance. It's $42 per month, and it is cheap as hell. And it's like worldwide coverage. Like you don't have to worry about anything, and it's like really just for emergency if you like really injure yourself. But then even paying out of pocket for like most places in these countries, it is really, really affordable. And you're definitely gonna be paying less money than you'd pay for taxes. But then more so than that, it's like just healthcare is just so affordable in these countries.
hmm it is. It is. Speaking about countries, I mean, I know you spend a lot of time in LA, and you probably have lots of American clients. You probably have like American like accounts and stuff like that. Have you ever thought about like permanently making the move to the States, like getting like a
No,
US
yeah,
visa,
don't
stuff
really
like
want
that?
to. I have thought about it, but don't really want to. Don't see a point. I like Toronto a lot. It's a great, great, great city.
Hmm
And so, like, it took me traveling all around the world to realize, home is where the heart is. And I love it so much. And I'm very, very happy being in Toronto. So, yeah, I'm probably happiest when I'm in Toronto. So, like, yeah, I don't really see a point. LA's really dirty, inexpensive, and just like, don't really see a point.
I
You know
feel
what I
you.
mean?
I feel you.
LA is a third world city, straight up. I would
I
consider
feel
it a
you.
third world city.
Yeah. Yeah, we were there at the same time a year or two ago when we were trying to meet up. I remember. Um, So, and I think that's where I'm going to eventually get to is to basically be like a snowbird and spend the summers in Toronto and the winters
Cool,
in Latin America.
cool.
Um, I was gonna, yeah,
It's a good way to
I
do
guess
it.
some people would be curious to know, like, what area of Toronto are you from
Downtown. Oh, so I grew up
originally?
in
Originally,
the East End, borderline Scarborough, Pickering.
uh
That
huh,
was the neighborhood I grew up in. So like East End of Scarborough, but then I lived downtown. So I've lived downtown since 2017.
uh huh.
Mostly spend most
Okay.
of my time downtown. Like I don't really
So,
I don't really
would
leave
you
my
say
little
you're
bubble
from
and just here.
Scarborough or Pickering?
No, Scarborough for sure.
Okay.
But I spent a lot of time in both.
No, okay, okay. I think that's useful trivia for like some of your long term fans.
Cool.
And another question about the business. So, like, what percentage of your like in-person clients, or actually just dating clients in general, come from in person in Toronto, sort of through the network and everyone there, versus like international clients, primarily through Zoom and whatnot?
So I get tons of international clients who actually fly in. I don't like doing online coaching. Not that it's not profitable. It's probably more scalable and more profitable if you do it right than even
Hmm
doing it in person. Like you could probably make
hmm
more money and make it easier if you just did it effectively online. But
hmm
I actually like I'm not just in this for the money, dude. Like I never really coached for the money. It never was about money. And then when I realized, well, money is awesome, then it's like great, let's build a business and change people's lives. So I did it because I love it. And so even now, like I just not passionate about doing online type coaching. It just doesn't get me going. And so I've done it, but especially during COVID, like I was doing that. But no, in person is like where my heart is, right?
Interesting. So, but you do a lot of digital products, but you'd prefer like a full digital product versus sort of like a productized service where you need to do the Zoom calls and everything.
Say again.
So it's like, you can have digital products that are just purely sort of video and whatever, just like a pure digital
Yeah,
product.
I
Or you
have
could
digital
have sort
products
of
like
like the
Toronto one.
mentorship model where you're coaching people through Zoom and whatnot.
Yeah, of
And
course.
you
Yeah, those are
prefer to
both
just
really
keep the
popular.
online
Yeah.
online and then keep the in person. And if people
So
really,
I've got online courses. I've got a course called Online Seduction, online-seduction.com. It's a course about how to pick up girls from Tinder. I've got daygamemastery.org, which is a course on how to pick up girls in the day. I just
Mhm,
launched that last month. We've already
yep,
made a bunch of money from it. Like it's been really profitable and I'm making bank. And like
mhm,
that's just an extra stream of income, right? I've got in-person, in-field coaching, which is the only program running that right now. It's called the Toronto Immersion Bootcamp,
mhm.
and it's an in-person program, and that's like my bread and butter. Then I've got Zoom mentoring. I'm actually doing business mentoring. I'm taking on a couple clients for that, so I do a bit of business mentoring. I am taking on a couple clients for that next month, and then I got crypto, which makes me insane amount of money. That's more like an investment kind of strategy where all the money I have saved up, just throw it in crypto and invest it,
Yeah.
and so it's like making me richer and richer, which is really cool.
And yeah, that reminds me. I remember, I think when you first got back to Toronto after that sort of COVID stint in Mexico City, you started making more business content, sort of focused towards other internet entrepreneurs. And I thought you were actually going to give up the dating angle entirely and go full into being successful and entrepreneurship and things like that. What was your thought process, and like, why did you decide to continue with the dating stuff? And how sustainable do you think it is? Like, you're young, so you can actually keep doing it for like easily another 5 years or more. Or like, do you think you want to eventually sort of pivot to a different niche?
I mean, logically, you'd think it'd pivot to different niche, but I just love it so much. I don't know if I could stop for the next 10 years even, unless I just make like my long term goal is to just make tens of millions from this and then just like virtually retire if I want to. But again, I
Hmm.
just love it so fucking much. Like, I just don't know if I could stop. I'm very passionate about it. And it's great. It's fun. It allows me to meet beautiful women, allows me to have a life of insane freedom, like more like so much freedom that I don't know what to do with my free time, even though I'm making bank and banging tons of girls, like still have a ton of free time. And then it's just a good time overall. So yeah, like I don't know. I'm also really passionate about business, entrepreneurship, fintech, crypto, and all kinds of stuff like that. So I love it all. Love it all. And so I find that really ties in with what I'm doing more so than replacing what I'm doing. It ties in really well.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, man. So we're kind of like the 52 minute mark. So I want to be respectful of your time. Maybe we can just kind of go to the hour.
Sure.
Um, I know I've been like hitting you with lots of questions. Did you have any questions for me or things that you wanted to share? I
No,
know you
everything's
did just
pretty
launch Day Game
self-explanatory.
Mastery.
Yeah, day game mastery is awesome. So, is your audience primarily men?
Yeah, yeah.
So, day game mastery is a really intricate course. It's 200 plus videos teaching you guys how to change your thoughts, beliefs, mindsets, habits when it comes to meeting women. So you can literally just get insane results with in-person dating. And it ties so well into travel because now you have the skills to meet beautiful women and you can take that anywhere in the world. So whether you're walking down the street in Mexico City or when you're in Latin America or South America and Peru or in Australia, like anywhere in the world, really, you can just have the skill set to meet gorgeous women everywhere you go. And that's one of the best parts about travel for me is like the diversity of the dating options because you can meet gorgeous women and make them your girlfriend. And I've had girlfriends from all over the world. I've had girlfriends from Europe. I've had girlfriends from Latin America. I have a lot of girlfriends from Latin America. I've had girlfriends in Australia. So it's always been really interesting. And yeah, how you meet them is during the day. That's the best way to do it. So daygamemaster.org, it's a really, really powerful course, which would, there's another course I'll probably lay even more than that. It's called Online Seduction, online-seduction.com. I actually created that with
Hmm.
Bradicus, and it will teach you how to just scale the shit out of your dating life. So you can literally just meet so many girls. And I'm telling you right now, this works. It's like made for Latin America. We made it when we were in Mexico City, and you could literally just slay. So online-seduction.com. If anyone wants to follow me, you can go follow me on Instagram at drunkjustin2. Check out my crazy stories. Every day we're doing something different, new, and exciting. You can check out my YouTube channel, Justin Marc. It's my name, Justin Marc. I also just launched a podcast called The Wingman Podcast. So it's on Spotify and Apple, and it's also on YouTube. So if you just search up The Wingman Podcast or The Wingman Podcast Justin Marc on YouTube or on Spotify or on Apple, you should be able to find it. And yeah, go follow me. Go check my stuff out. It's really fun, interesting. It's all based around sex, relationships, dating, travel, business, lifestyle development, and just living the life of a king, essentially.
Hmm. Yeah, I was watching a bit of the Wingman podcast, the first couple episodes.
Cool.
Really, really high production quality. You got the whole studio going on, going for
You
like
have
a
no
fresh
idea
and
what's
fit
to
type
come.
vibe.
Yeah, dude. No, it's we literally have like a $50,000 studio. Well, it's like a $1 million condo, but it's like 50 grand at least of equipment. It's beautiful. We're really gonna take it off. Shit's gonna pop.
Hmm.
Can't wait.
Yeah, multi-camera angles.
Oh
All
yeah.
right, so you know what? Okay, two more questions. One quick one. So you've been sober for like 3 years plus, at least for alcohol.
4 years.
Why is your Instagram still Drunk Justin? Is it just like a joke at this point?
More so just so people can find me. It's like brain recognition because
Yeah.
I don't have my first Instagram anymore, which is Drunk Justin, and I didn't want to change the name because I have hundreds of YouTube videos directing traffic there. But now people search
Right.
Drunk Justin, they can still
Right.
find my content.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, it's just so
Because
they can find me.
the original ones, the original YouTube video said at Drunk Justin, but you lost it.
Hmm.
So at least if they search it, they'll see two.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, so maybe let's give the people what they want a little bit. This is gonna be a dangerous question, but how would you compare dating in Latin America to North America and other regions, both for online and for in the day?
Last time I talked about this publicly, I ended up in Forbes, Mexico, and they're talking shit about me and
Yeah.
just slandering the hell out of me. I should sue Forbes, seriously. I should sue them. But
I-
I would say, I mean, look, if you're good at dating, you're going to be good at it everywhere. But Latinos are a lot more traditional in their mindsets. So a Latina girlfriend is a lot like again. Also depends what city they're from, what country they're from, what their upbringing was like, and so there's no way you can just stereotype one person. But overall, Latinas are more spicy. They're a little bit more crazy. They're a little bit more jealous, and they might kick your ass. If they catch you cheating, they might snip your dick off. But they are more loving, more passionate, more likely to take care of you. Versus like I feel like a lot of women in like America are just fat and ugly, and just like rude and overly entitled. You know what I mean? So like the dating market in Latin America is better for a single man versus in America because like you'll have fat ugly women in America who are just like stuck up, right? Versus in Latin America, like the gorgeous women are like super loving and feminine and caring. So definitely Latinos are more a preference. I've kind of come full circle where like I've just so overwhelmed by Latino women. They're like just too much emotions. I can't even deal with them anymore. And I'm just like, I feel safe with my white girls. I love white girls. I've got two different girlfriends kind of who are both white. And I just feel like I'm safe with them because they're not going to beat me or try to murder me if we break up. You know what I mean?
Was the caringness a surprise for you when you first got down there? Like how much they take care of you?
Yeah, it was definitely. I just noticed like people in general, guys too, man. It's just part of the culture. It's not like the girls; it's the culture. People are more caring and loving in general, more family oriented, right? Versus I find in the like, you know, North American slash Western type world, like the concept of a nuclear family is almost like frowned upon, right? Versus like outside of Western society, like people still have their nuclear family.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, a couple of quick rapid fires. I mean, what do you think are some of the best cities in Mexico that you would recommend to people for dating? I know you haven't been to all of them, but I know you kind of know the word on the street on a lot of places.
Mexico City definitely is great for quantity because there's 25 million people there or whatever. Like you can just meet so many people. Guadalajara, Mexico, really, really awesome. It's the model capital of Mexico. Really, really cool. You go to Guanajuato City. It's full of like backpackers and stuff and like just interesting city to check out, which could be good like for a week to check out or whatever. Guadalajara is more if you want to just settle down, have a bunch of model girlfriends. Mexico City is if you just want to get laid like a rock star, go to Mexico City. Um, you got Playa del Carmen, which is really good for like expats to live there and live on the beach and bang the hotties from nightclubs and stuff like that. So that's really good, but not necessarily good for Tinder. Mexico City, Guadalajara, really good for Tinder. Puebla, it's pretty good for Tinder as well, but you're better off just staying in Mexico City because there's more quantity and abundance there, and it's right next to Puebla. Puebla's worth checking out as well. Why not? Guanajuato, Leon, Guanajuato is really cool because you get a lot of people who move there from Guadalajara or that area, and so the girls are definitely different looking, more attractive, and more feminine, I think, than girls in Mexico City. Like a lot more traditional. You get more traditional women there. So that's really cool. All the beach cities like, Sayulita, Puerto Vallarta, Cancun, Playa del Carmen, you're going to get a lot of like American tourists. So like you got that, and you got the nightlife stuff on the beaches, and you got good weather. And then, dating apps aren't as good, so it's better to like meet people in person. So yeah, man, lots going on in Mexico.
Awesome, bro. Well, yeah, I just wanted to say that I really respect what you're doing in
Thanks,
terms
bro.
of the entrepreneurial path that you're on and continuing to put out content and running an online business and keeping the train chugging week after week. People don't realize how difficult it is.
It's a lot. It's a
And
lot
yeah, and I know you've dealt with adversity at times,
for sure.
and it's sick to see you kind of bounce back. And I can just tell like there's big things ahead for you. You just have good charisma, good head on your shoulders, and you're constantly improving yourself, and you have like a self development mindset, and pretty much sky's the limit.
Yeah, that's the way I see it. It's like you've never like mastered anything. Just keep going, keep learning, keep growing, just become a better person day in, day out, and just live a better life. Make yourself just a better human being.
Awesome, man. And again, the new program is Day Game Mastery, right?
Yep, daygamemastery.org. Check
And
it
the new
out.
podcast is the Wingman Podcast.
The Wingman podcast. Go check that as well.
Oh, and quick question: how did you meet your co-host?
He was my first wingman that I met through an online pickup artist forum in 2013. We've been friends for years.
There you go, Matt Levine, right? Is that name?
Yep, super cool dude. Really good guy.
Yeah, seems like a cool dude. And yeah, all the best of luck on your podcast. Thank you very much for coming on My Latin Life podcast. This has
Thanks for
definitely
having
been
me.
an interesting one, and yeah, thanks to all the listeners out
Oh
there.
yeah, thanks, bro. Much love.
Much love. Peace.
See you guys.